students, my heartily welcome to Gurudeva learning classes. Dear students, today we will be learning and dealing with very curious topic of our human body, that is the skeletal system and the muscular system. So dear students, we are discussing in part 2 video. Dear students, before going to part 2 video, let us recall what we have learned from the part 1 video. So dear students, in the part 1 video, we have learnt and discussed about that the external and internal organs and skeletal system and their function. Next, we have learnt about that parts of the skeleton. In the part of the skeleton, we can see there are 5 parts, right? So, such as skull, backbone, ribcage, limbs and girdles. These are the 5 parts of the skeleton. So, dear students, once we have to recall in briefly. So, dear students, what is the first point? External and internal organs. The organs which are present on the outer parts of the body, that is known as external organs, such as eyes, nose, hands. As it is, internal organs are the organs which are located inside our body, that is known as internal organs. For example, lungs, brain, kidney. These are the internal organs. As it is, our human body is made up of different kinds of system. So, system, it is nothing but the group of organs which perform the specific function. The group of work together to perform a specific function, that is known as system. Here, there are different kinds of systems are present in the human body, such as respiratory system, circulatory system, excretory system. These are the examples for system. So, dear students, as it is like system, we have one more system, that is nothing but skeletal system. So, dear students, now in this lesson, we are learning in details about that what is the main function of skeletal system and what are the parts are present in the skeletal system. That is, we are learning, right? So, here, what is the skeletal system? The skeletal system, it contains different bones. The group of bones and joints, it form a framework, that is nothing but skeleton. So, dear students, in the skeleton we can see bones and joints, right? So, here the adult human body is made up of 206 bones. But the newborn baby, it has 270 bones. As the baby grown, the bones of the baby, it will joins together and form a bone. So, dear students, as it is the joints. Joints are nothing but where the 2 bones meet. That place is known as joint. So, dear students, here in the bone we can see bone marrow. And what is the main function of bone and how does it look like? These are the points we have learned, right? So, bone is totally it is hard from the outside, but inside the body it is soft and spongy. So, dear students, inside the bone we can see jelly-like fatty substance, that is nothing but bone marrow. So, dear students, in the bone there is a canal, right? With the help of canal and bone marrow, the bone it will reproduce the nerve cells, and as well as bone marrow, it will reproduce the blood and blood vessels. These are the main function of bone and bone marrow. So, dear students, next we have learnt about that main function of the skeleton. What are the main function? The main function of the skeleton is nothing but it gives posture and support to the human body, and it gives the shape, structure to the human body. So, as it is, it helps to movement. It helps to movement. Here, the muscular system in the human body which helps to show movement, right? but the skeletal system which helps to show the direction for the muscles to move. So as it is the skeletal system which will protect the internal organs. For example, heart and lungs are very delicate organs. So it will be protected by the rib cage. Rib cage, it is one of the part of the skeletal system. So as it is the skeletal system, inside the skeletal there are bone and bone marrow, right? So that bone and bone marrow, it will reproduces the blood and blood vessels. These are the main function of skeletal system. Dear students, now let us recall once what are the parts of the skeleton. In the parts of the skeleton, we can see there are 5 parts, right? So, here first part is that skull, right? The skull, it starts from the head. The framework of the skeletal system, it starts from the head. The skull is present in the part of the head, right? So, what is the main function of skull and what are the parts it's present? So, the skull, it is made up of 22 bones, right? So, out of 22 bones, 8 bones are present in the upper surface of the skull and remaining 14 bones are present in the face region, right? So, in the skull, the lower jaw and upper jaw are the present in the skull, right? So, here the lower jaw of the skull only shows movement. So, with the help of this movement, we can talk very easily, we can eat the food, we can chew the food. So, with the help of movable jaw. So, dear students, it is the main function of skull and jaws. So, next point is that backbone. So, dear students, backbone, it is also one of the part of the skeletal system. So, dear students, backbone, it contains totally 33 smaller bones. So, each and every smaller bones which will be protected by the backbone. So, those smaller bones are known as vertebrae. That vertebrae also it's known as spine. So, dear students, the spine, the backbone, it starts from the skull part of the head and it will continue to that all parts of the limbs. Limbs are connected to the backbone. So, it is the brief information about that backbone. Next part of the skeletal system is that rib cage. Dear students, the rib cage, it contains totally 12 pair of curved bones. Each curved bone, it forms a cage. So, the 12 pair of bones are nothing but ribs. That curved shape, it is known as cage. So, inside the rib cage, the heart and lungs are present, which will be protected by the rib cage. So, dear students, the 10 pair of rib cage are known as sternum. It is present in the front side of the human body. So, at the back of the backbone, that will be connected 2 pair of bones. That is nothing but floating bone. So, it will be connected to the backbone. So, dear students, it is about that rib cage. Next point is that limbs. So, dear students, limbs are nothing but arms. We have 2 kinds of limbs such as upper limbs and lower limbs. The upper limbs are nothing but our arms. Arms are hands. So, lower limbs are nothing but legs. So, dear students, upper limbs, it contain shoulder, hands, palm and fingers. So, here fingers of the arms are made up of smaller bones. As it is that palms and hands are, it has 2 long bones. Here in the limbs, it has humerus. It is the longest bone in the upper limbs. As it is in the lower limbs, it contains 3 kinds such as thigh bone, foot and toes. The toes of the limbs, it is made up of smaller bones. So, dear students, in the lower limbs, the thigh bone or femur is the longest bone in the human body. So, dear students, it is about that limbs. Next is that girdle. So as it is like a limbs, it has girdle also, two pair of girdles. That is nothing but shoulder girdle and hip girdle. So dear students, the shoulder girdle, it is the point of the limbs which are connected to the shoulder bone to the trunk of the human body, the backbone of the human body. As it is the girdle, it has point of the limbs, lower limbs or nothing but legs bone. Legs bone are connected to the hip bone of the place, hip bone, and it connected to the trunk of the human body. Girdle. So dear students, these are the point what we have learned in the part 1 video. We are learning in details about that types of joints and what is that joints and what are the main function of joints in the human body. So dear students, before going to that, let us know first what are the joints. As we discussed in the previous part, that is the joints are the place or point where the two bones meet. That place is nothing but joints. So dear students, in the joints we can see two kinds of joints such as immovable joints and that movable joints. So dear students, what are the immovable joints? First, let us know that what are the immovable joints and which part of the skeletal system it contains immovable joints. So here, immovable joints are the joints which cannot show any movement. For example, skull part of the skeletal system, it cannot move anywhere, right? So for example, the lower jaw of the skull, it shows movement. Because of that, we can talk very easily, right? So the skull part of the skeletal system, it is known as immovable joint. So dear students, next is that movable joints. So dear students, in the joints, in the bone, some part of the bone, it has ligament. That is the substance which is present in the bone which helps to show the movement. So for example, wrist, so fingers, it can show any movement. With the help of that finger, we can write, we can eat, we can do any work, right? So that is known as movable joint. So dear students, in the movable joint, we can see different kinds of movable joints. So dear students, let us learn and discuss in details about that. We can see four types of movable joints such as pivot joint, ball and socket joints, and hinge joint and gliding joints. These are the four types of joints which are present in the skeletal system. So dear students, first let us discuss in details about that pivot joint. So dear students, the pivot joints are the joints which are move however. For example, the skull part of the bone and that backbone of the two vertebrae which join together in the skull part of the bone and it can show the movement. So because of that reason, the skull part of the bone, it can show upward movement, downward movement, sideward and however it can show the movement. So next is that ball and socket joint. So dear students, this kind of joint, it has ball like a structure. For example, shoulder bone and that hip bone. So that shoulder part of the end of that shoulder part, that ball like a structure that will be attached to the limbs. So as it is in the hip part of the bone, that hip part will be attached to the legs of the bone. So that will be show the direction of the movement. So it is about that ball and socket joint. Next, let us discuss in details about the third movable joint, that is hinge joint. So dear students, these kind of joints are present in the toes and fingers part of the human body. Those bones are totally flat like a structure, and it can show that smaller movement. It cannot bend, however. For example, fingers and toes, right? So it can show only straight direction. Students, in the joint of the bones, it can show only one plane direction. So it cannot show many movement. So because of that, smaller bones are connected to the hinge joint. So dear students, it is about that hinge joint. Next point is that gliding joints. So dear students, gliding joints we can see in the part of wrist, ankle and backbone. So dear students, these kinds of joints it can show complex movement. Because of that gliding joint we can show different kinds of movement. We can bend our backbone, however, right? So as it is wrist, ankle. So these parts of the human body can show complex movement. This is about that gliding joints. So dear students, these are the point of that types of movable. Now let us learn and discuss in details about that muscular system. So dear students, what is this muscular system and what does it made up of? The muscular system is totally made up of muscles. So dear students, as you know all, the muscles are attached to the bone. So because of that muscles attachment to the bone, it can show different movement in our body. It shows different direction to move the muscles. So that human body, it is totally made up of 640 muscles. So dear students, the muscles are attached to the bone. That tissues are attached to each other. The tissues are known as tendons tissue. Because of the tendons tissue, the muscles it can show movement like relaxing and expanding. So this is the process of movement in the muscles. So dear students, the muscles and muscular system it can work as a relaxing. When the muscles it show movement, then it can extend. When it can stop or else when it get relaxed, then the muscles it will contract, that will be crumple. So that is the work of muscles. Because of that muscular system, parts of the body it can show movement. For example, eating, writing, walking, talking, eyes, blinking of eyes. So these are the different kinds of activities it can be done with the help of muscular system. So dear students, this is the brief information about that muscular system. So dear students, now let us learn in details about the types of muscular system. So dear students, the muscular system it is totally made up of 3 types of muscles. So such as voluntary muscles, involuntary muscles and cardiac muscles. These are the 3 kinds of muscles which are present in the muscular system. So dear students, first let us learn in details about that voluntary muscles. What are these voluntary muscles and what does it made up of? What is the main function of voluntary muscles? So first point is that what is that voluntary muscles? The muscles which can perform the work its own consciously. The muscles which can work consciously. Those muscles are known as voluntary muscles. These muscles are attached to the skeletal system. So it is also known as skeletal muscles. So for example, ants, legs, face regions, these are the muscles which can work their own. It can come to know. If it is not need to work, it can stop. For example, if there is a pencil, it will fall down. Then you have to bend your body to take out that pencil, right? So that voluntarily it can come to know that it has to be do, right? So Such kinds of muscles are known as voluntary muscles or skeletal muscles. Next, let us know involuntary muscles. So, dear students, involuntary muscles are present in the internal organs, which are made up of internal organs. For example, lungs, stomach and intestine and vessels, blood vessels. So, these are the muscles which are attached to the internal organs. So, dear students, these are the muscles which work unconsciously. For example, they won't stop. For example, the stomach which helps to digest the food, right? When there is a digesting process, the muscles will work efficiently. So, it cannot stop. These kinds of muscles are known as involuntary muscles. So, here the involuntary muscles are also known as smooth muscles. So, next point is that cardiac muscles. So, dear students, the cardiac muscles, it is totally special type of involuntary muscles. So, this cardiac muscle, it totally is made up of heart. Here, the heart cardiac muscle which will work up to our lifespan. Until we die, that muscles will work. When the heart will pumps the blood, then it can contract. Then when it will be supply the blood to all parts of the body, then it will be relaxed. Then the process will be runs until we die. Till our lifetime, that cardiac muscles will be worked. So, dear students, these are the important points of your part 2 video. So, dear students, here you have to write that what did you learn questions from this lesson. And dear students, read the textbook twice or thrice for your better understanding. Read the textbook very clearly. And dear students, thank you for watching this video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.